Chapter 17. Prohibitions against eating blood. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Give the following instructions to Aaron and his sons and all the people of Israel. This is what the Lord has commanded. If any native Israelite sacrifices a bull or a lamb or a goat anywhere inside or outside the camp, instead of bringing it to the entrance of the tabernacle to present it as an offering to the Lord, that person will be as guilty as a murderer. Such a person has shed blood and will be cut off from the community. The purpose of this rule is to stop the Israelites from sacrificing animals in the open fields. It will ensure for them that they will bring their sacrifices to the priest at the entrance of the tabernacle, so they can present them to the Lord as peace offerings. Then the priest will be able to splatter the blood against the Lord's altar at the entrance of the tabernacle, and he will burn the fat as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. The people will no longer be unfaithful to the Lord by offering sacrifices to the goat idols. This is a permanent law for them to be observed from generation to generation. Give them this command as well. If any native Israelite or foreign living among you offers you a burnt offering or a sacrifice, but does not bring it to the entrance of the tabernacle to offer it to the Lord, that person will be cut off from the community. And if any native Israelite or foreigner living among you eats or drinks blood in any form, I will turn against that I will turn against that person and cut him off from the community of your people. For the life of the body is in its blood. I have given you the blood on the altar to purify you, making you right with the Lord. It is the blood given in exchange for a life that makes purification possible. This is why I have said to the people of Israel, you must never eat or drink blood, neither you nor the foreigners living among you. And if any native Israelite or foreigner living among you goes hunting and kills an animal or a bird that is approved for eating, he must drain its blood and cover it with earth. The life in every creature is in its blood. That is why I have said that to the people of Israel, you must never eat or drink blood, for the life of any creature is in its blood. So whoever consumes blood will be cut off from the community. And if any native-born Israelite or foreigner eats the meat of an animal that died naturally or was torn up by wild animals, they must wash their clothes and bathe themselves in water. Then they will remain ceremonially unclean until evening, but then they will be clean. But if they do not wash their clothes and bathe themselves, they will be punished for their sin. Chapter 18. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Give the following instructions to the people of Israel. I am the Lord your God. So do not act like the people in Egypt where you used to live, or like the people of Canaan, where I am taking you. You must not intimidate their way of life. You must obey all my regulations and be careful to obey my decrees, for I am the Lord your God. If you obey my decrees and my regulations, you will find life through them. I am the Lord. You must never have sexual relations with a close relative, for I am the Lord. Do not violate your father by having sexual relations with your mother. She is your mother. You must not have sexual relations with her. Do not have sexual relations with any of your father's wives, for this would violate your father. Do not have sexual relations with your sister or half-sister, whether she is your father's daughter or your mother's daughter, whether she was born into your household or someone else's. Do not have sexual relations with your granddaughter, whether she is your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter, for this would violate yourself. Do not have sexual relations with your stepsister, the daughter of any of your father's wives, for she is your sister. Do not have sexual relations with your father's sister, for she is your father's close relative. Do not have sexual relations with your mother's sister, for she is your mother's close relative. Do not violate your uncle, your father's brother, by having sexual relations with his wife, for she is your aunt. Do not have sexual relations with your daughter-in-law. She is your son's wife, so you must not have sexual relations with her. Do not have sexual relations with your brother's wife, for that would violate your brother. Do not have sexual relations with both a woman and her daughter, and do not take her granddaughter, whether her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter, and have sexual relations with her. They are close relatives, and this would be a wicked act. While your wife is living, do not marry her sister and have sexual relations with her, for they would be rivals. Do not have sexual relations with a woman during her period of menstrual impurity. Do not defile yourself by having sexual intercourse with your neighbor's wife. Do not permit any of your children to be offered as a sacrifice to Molech, for you must not bring shame to the name of your God. I am the Lord. Do not place homosexuality or practice homosexuality. Having sex with another man is as with a woman. Another man as with a woman. It is a detestable sin. A man must not defile himself by having sex with an animal, and a woman must not offer herself to a male animal and have intercourse with it. This is a perverse act. Do not defile yourselves in any of these ways, for the people I am driving out before you have defiled themselves in all these ways, because the entire land has become defiled. I am punishing the people who have lived there. I will cause the land to vomit them out. That you must obey all my decrees and regulations. You must not commit any of these detestable sins. This applies both to native-born Israelites and to foreigners living among you. All these detestable activities are practiced by people of the land where I am taking you, and this is how the land has become defiled. So do not defile the land and give it a reason to vomit you out, and as it will vomit out the people who live there now. Sorry. Whoever commits any of these detestable sins will be cut off from the community of Israel. So obey my instructions and do not defile yourselves by committing any of these detestable practices that were committed by the people who lived in the land before you. I am the Lord your God. Chapter 19. The Lord also said to Moses, give the following instructions to the entire community of Israel. You must be holy because I, the Lord your God, am holy. Each of you must show great respect for your mother and father, and you must always observe my Sabbath day of rest. I am the Lord your God. Do not put your trust in idols or make metal images of God for yourselves. I am the Lord your God. When you sacrifice a peace offering to the Lord, offer it properly, so you will be accepted by God. The sacrifice must be eaten on the same day you offer it, or the next day, whatever is left over until the third day must be completely burned up. If any of the sacrifices is eaten on the third day, it will be contaminated, and I will not accept it. Anyone who eats it on the third day will be punished for defiling what is holy to the Lord and will be cut off from the community. When you harvest the crops of your land, do not harvest the grain along the edges of your fields, and do not pick up what the harvesters drop. And it is the same way with your grape crop. Do not strip every last bunch of grapes from the vines, and do not pick up the grapes that fall on the ground. Leave them for the poor and the foreigners living among you. I am the Lord your God. Do not steal, do not deceive or cheat one another. Do not bring shame on the name of your God by using it to swear falsely. I am the Lord. Do not defraud or rob your neighbor. Do not make your hired workers wait until the next day to receive their pay. Do not insult the deaf or cause the blind to stumble. You must fear your God. I am the Lord. Do not twist justice in legal matters by favoring the poor or being partial to the rich and powerful. Always judge people fairly. Do not spread slanderous gossip among your people. Do not stand idly when your neighbor's life is threatened. I am the Lord. Do not nurse hatred in your heart for any of your relatives. Confront people directly. So you will not be held guilty for their sin. Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against a fellow Israelite, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. You must obey all my decrees. Do not make two different kinds of animals, or do not mate with two different kinds. Do not mate two different kinds of animals. Do not plant your fields with two different kinds of seed. Do not wear clothing woven from two different kinds of thread. If a man has sex with a slave girl whose freedom has never been purchased, but who is committed to become another man's wife, he must pay full compensation to her master. But since she is not a free woman, neither the man nor the woman will be put to death. The man, however, must bring a ram as a guilt offering and present it to the Lord at the entrance of the tabernacle. The priest will then purify him before the Lord with the ram of the guilt offering, and the man's sin will be forgiven. When you enter the land and plant fruit trees, leave the fruit unharvested for the first 3 years and consider it forbidden. Do not eat it. On the 4th year, the entire crop must be consecrated to the Lord as a celebration of praise. Finally, on the 5th year, you may eat the fruit. If you follow this pattern, your harvest will increase. I am the Lord your God. Do not eat meat that has not been drained of its blood. Do not practice fortune-telling or witchcraft. Do not trim your hair on your temples or trim your beard. Do not cut your bodies for the death, and do not mark your skin with tattoos. I am the Lord. Do not defile your daughter by making her a prostitute, or the land will be filled with prostitution and wickedness. Keep my Sabbath day of rest, and show reverence towards my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Do not defile yourselves by turning to mediums or to those who consult the spirits of the dead. I am the Lord your God. Stand up in the presence of the elderly and show respect for the aged. Fear your God. I am the Lord. Do not take advantage of foreigners who live among you in the land. Treat them like native-born Israelites and love them as you love yourself. I'm sorry. Do not be dishonest. Remember that you were once foreigners living in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Do not use dishonest standards when measuring length, width, or volume. Your scales and weights must be accurate. Your containers for measuring dry materials or liquids must be accurate. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Chapter 20, last chapter for the day. And I just noticed and realized that I read chapter 17, which I wasn't supposed to, but it's only been 13 minutes, so we're still good. The Lord said to Moses, "Give the people of Israel these instructions, which apply both to native Israelites and to the foreigners living in Israel. If any of them offer their children as a sacrifice to Molech, they must be put to death. The people of the community must stone them to death. I myself will turn against them and cut them off from the community, because they have defiled my sanctuary and brought shame to my holy name by offering their children to Molech. And if the people of the community ignore those who offer their children to Molech and refuse to execute them, I myself will turn against them and their families and will cut them off from the community. This will happen to all who commit spiritual prostitution by worshipping Molech. I will also turn against those who commit spiritual prostitution by putting their trust in mediums or those who consult the spirits of the dead. I will cut them off from the community so So set yourselves apart to be holy, for I am the Lord your God. Keep all my decrees by putting them in practice, for I am the Lord who makes you holy. Anyone who dishonors father or mother must be put to death. Such as a person is guilty if of a capital offense. If a man commits adultery with his neighbor's wife, both the man and the woman who have committed adultery must be put to death. If a man violates his father by having sex with one of his father's wives, both the man and the woman will be put to death, for they are guilty of capital offense. If a man has sex with his daughter-in-law, both must be put to death. They have committed a perverse act and are guilty of a capital offense. If a man practices homosexuality, having sex with another man as with a woman, both men have committed a detestable act. They must both be put to death, for they are guilty of a capital offense. If a man marries both a woman and her mother, he has committed a wicked act. The man and both women will be burned to death to wipe out such wickedness from among you. If a man has sex with an animal, he must be put to death, and the animal must be killed. If a woman presents herself to a male animal and has to have intercourse with it, she and the animal must both be put to death. You must kill both. For they are guilty of capital offense. If a man marries his sister and the daughter of either his father and his mother, they have sexual relations. It is a shameful disgrace. They must be publicly cut off from the community. Since the man has violated his sister, he will be punished for his sin. If a man has sexual relations with a woman during her menstrual period, both of them must be cut off from the community, for together they have exposed the source of her blood flow. Do not have sexual relations with your aunt, whether your mother's sister or your father's sister. This would dishonor a close relative. Both parties are guilty and will be punished for their sin. If a man has sex with his uncle's wife, he has violated his uncle. Both the man and the woman will be punished for their sin, and they will die childless. If a man marries his brother's wife in the act of impurity, he has violated his brother, and the guilty couple will remain childless. You must keep all my decrees and regulations by putting them into practice. Otherwise, the land to which I am bringing you as your new home will vomit you out. Do not live according to the customs of the people I am driving out before you. It is because they do these shameful things that I detest them. But I have promised you, you will possess their land, because I will give it to you as your possession, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God, who has set you apart from all other people. You must therefore make a distinction between ceremonially clean and unclean animals, and between clean and unclean birds. You must not defile yourselves by eating any unclean animal or bird or creature that scurries along the ground. I have identified them as being unclean for you. You must be holy, because I am the Lord, I am holy. I have set you apart from all other people to be my very own. Men and women among you who act as mediums or who consult the spirits of the dead must be put to death by stoning. They are guilty of a capital offense. Okay, guys, so that was our reading for today. It was 19 minutes for the reading, and I did an extra chapter on accident. So a lot of that was, again, more laws. Not saying that it's bad that the laws are there, because that's really good, because it helps people to be, more holy. So I'm not going to talk about 17, because we talked about 17 yesterday. 17, and then so 18. 18 was all the sexual practices that were forbidden, like having sexual relations with any family members or close relatives, whether it be from your dad's side or your mom's side, or even your son's wife or things like that. I think is pretty crazy that they did that, but I guess people would do that because they needed to, I guess, grow the population. But I don't really know the exact reason why people would do that. I don't know if that's not. I don't think that's very common now because one, the population's pretty big and it's still like frowned upon as a society, which is still good. The whole gay marriages thing is pretty. It's growing, I could say. As far as that being practiced, which is very bad, and a lot of people say it's not bad and that it's not in the Bible, but we just read it, so. Um, so yeah. Chapter 19 was so in my book it has subtitles kind of for them, and it says holiness and personal conduct, and so this was and so this chapter, was mostly about um a lot of the laws, kind of like the Ten Commandments, like do not steal, do not deceive or cheat one another. And it talked about how basically it did the famous to me, um, saying, love your neighbor as yourself. And it says, do not take advantage of foreigners who live among you in the land. Treat them like native born Israelites and love them as you love yourselves. And then he says, remember that you were once foreigners living in the land of Egypt. So he's telling them, so basically treat people how you want to be treated, or love your neighbor as yourself. And even if they're foreigners, remember that you were foreigners once. And even though they didn't treat you so well, them because they were slaves, they were still pretty good. It was better off than cheating them out of things like that. And it was a lot of, again, laws, but more of like the laws where it's not sexual, but it's like you cannot eat meat, and when you go hunting, you have to drain the blood and cover it with dirt and things like that. And then it talked about do not practice fortune telling or witchcraft. And it said, do not trim off the hair on your temples or trim your beards. So I'm guessing all the people here had long beards and long hair, depending on how long their hair would grow. I think myself, my hair grows pretty long and pretty fast. Like, I have to get it cut, I don't know, pretty quickly. So I don't know. I would have pretty long hair, probably like dreadlocks, especially when I'm like 20 or something. So yeah, chapter 20 was a lot of the punishments, and it talked again about all the sexual punishments, and a lot of it is you'd get stoned, for a lot of these things. And it says anyone who dishonors their father or mother must be put to death. So I don't know if that's necessarily just talking back, or it's like if you cheat your mom into giving you money or something like that. But I don't know if it's both or just one, I guess, worser one. I don't know if that's a word or if that's in the right context. But so yeah, and a lot of this was, again, with all the different sexual things, you'd get stoned or you'd be childless and you'd be cast out from the community. So yeah, that was a pretty quick Bible lesson or Bible study part of just going deeper into it. So a lot of these were punished, and it was a lot of the laws that happened. And when you read it, it seems like it's a bunch of laws, but again, this is basically just the same things that go on in our everyday lives. It's just, it's kind of simpler when you speak it to someone, when you're telling them, well, this is what you have to do. Just like when you're explaining, say, a project or something to someone, on how to build a radio or something like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think, and we will see you guys all tomorrow. Or I will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye.